The 14-year-old boy stood in the doorway, face destroyed, left eye swollen shut, lip split, nose broken, blood dried on his chin. He trembled, not from cold, but terror. 15 Hell's Angels stared. Who was this kid? Then he spoke, voice shaking. "Please, sirs, can I work here? I'll do anything. Clean bathrooms, wash bikes, sweep floors. I need somewhere to be, away from home. Maybe earn money for food. I don't want charity. I want to work. I want to have value. I want to belong. Please." Silence. These tough men confronted a beaten child asking not for help, but for purpose, for dignity, for belonging. The president stood. This changed everything. If this story moves you, please like and share. Everyone deserves to belong. Daniel Brooks, Danny, was 14 and trapped. He lived Southside Chicago with his father Marcus, who'd lost his factory job 3 years ago and now drank constantly. Vodka, cheap, effective. It consumed every dollar, leaving nothing for food or Danny. When Marcus drank, he got violent. Danny was always his target, had been since Danny's mother, Angela, died in childbirth. Marcus blamed Danny completely. "You killed her. You ruined my life." For 14 years, Danny endured systematic beatings, starvation, neglect, isolation. He had no family to help, no friends, too ashamed of constant injuries. No teacher had successfully intervened. Danny was alone. Last night was particularly brutal. Marcus came home at 2 a.m., drunk, furious, found Danny sleeping, started hitting, fists, belt, whatever reached. "You worthless garbage, you killed your mother, you're killing me." Danny curled up, protecting vital organs. He'd learned survival techniques over years, but couldn't prevent all damage. When Marcus passed out, Danny assessed injuries in the bathroom mirror. Black eye swollen shut, split lip bleeding, nose broken again, bruised ribs. Standard collection, just worse. At 3 a.m. on that bathroom floor, Danny decided he couldn't survive this anymore. He needed out, but how? 14 years old. No money, no resources, no options. Foster care had failed before. Then he remembered. The Hell's Angels clubhouse, 8 blocks away. He'd passed it hundreds of times, seen the motorcycles, the intimidating men in leather, but also noticed other things: charity toy drives, funeral escorts with respect, helping neighbors. They seemed organized, loyal, bound by brotherhood. They had structure, purpose, everything Danny lacked. What if he went there, asked not for rescue but for work, for chance to contribute, have value, belong? Would they laugh, throw him out, beat him worse? He didn't know, but anything seemed better than staying with Marcus. Saturday morning, October 12th, 2024, 9 a.m. Danny walked 8 blocks wearing torn, oversized clothes, weighing 98 pounds, should have been 130. Face displaying fresh brutality. The clubhouse door was open. 15 men inside drinking coffee, planning a charity ride. They looked up when Danny appeared. Complete silence. Danny's voice shook badly. "Please, sirs, can I work here? I'll do anything. Clean bathrooms, wash motorcycles, sweep floors, mop, cook, carry things, whatever you need. I need somewhere to be. Away from home, away from him. Maybe earn money for food. Haven't eaten in 2 days. I'm not asking for charity. I want to work, want to have value, want to belong to something, want to mean something. Please, I'll work hard." 15 men stared, shocked. Kids didn't walk into Hell's Angels clubhouses asking for jobs, especially not severely abused kids asking for belonging. Reaper, the president, 58, Vietnam vet, 6'3", 290, stood slowly, walked toward Danny. The boy flinched, expecting violence. Reaper knelt carefully, reaching Danny's eye level. "Son, what happened to your face?" "My dad, Marcus Brooks. He drinks every day. When he drinks, he hits me. Since I was born. Since my mum died having me, he blames me. Says I killed her. Maybe I did. But I'm tired. I can't do it anymore. So I came here. I want to work. Want to be safe. Want to matter." Reaper's heart shattered. This child wasn't asking for rescue. He was asking for dignity, purpose, belonging, somehow more devastating. "What's your name?" "B. Daniel Brooks. Danny." How old? 14. Where's your mom? Dead. Died when I was born. Dad blames me every day. You didn't kill her. Birth complications aren't your fault. Your dad tell you that? Every day. Reaper looked at his brothers. Everyone thinking the same thing. This kid needed comprehensive help, not just a job. A family. Danny, you're not working here as an employee. You're working here as family. We're figuring out who hurt you, your dad. We're stopping that permanently. We're giving you safe home, food, clothes, education, and most importantly, brothers who'll never let anyone hurt you again. Understand? Danny started crying. You do that for me? Why? Because you walked in beaten and asked for work. Not charity, work. That's dignity, that's courage. That deserves response. You're one of us now. Welcome to the Hells Angels, kid. You're our most important project. The other 14 stood, surrounding Danny protectively. Your family now. Nobody hurts family ever. Within 2 hours, the Hells Angels mobilized. This was war on systems that failed Danny, on the father who abused him, on society that let children suffer. Step 1. Document everything. Photos of Danny's injuries, current and old scars. Medical examination by Dr. Sarah Chen confirmed years of systematic abuse, malnutrition, repeated head trauma. I'm mandated to report this, she said. Report it, Reaper said. We want it official. Step 2. Legal intervention. Club attorneys filed emergency custody papers supported by medical reports, photos, Danny's testimony. The judge granted temporary custody to Reaper within 24 hours. Step 3. Confront Marcus. 20 Hells Angels went to Danny's apartment. 3rd floor walk-up. Broken elevator. They knocked loudly. Marcus opened the door, already drunk at noon, saw 20 massive bikers. Fear replaced confusion. Who are you? The men protecting your son. The son you've been beating for 14 years. That ends today. Marcus tried acting tough. That's my kid. I'll discipline him. Shut up. You're not disciplining. You're abusing. We have documentation, photos, medical records, testimony. You're done. Here's what happens. You leave Chicago. Today. Forever. You don't contact Danny. You disappear from his life completely. If you refuse, we ensure you disappear permanently. Different way. Less pleasant. Your choice. Marcus looked at 20 massive men. Understood this wasn't negotiation. Fine, I'm leaving. The kid was a burden anyway. 6 hours, we're watching. If you're still here at 6 p.m., we come back. We're not gentle. Marcus left that afternoon on a Greyhound South. Gone permanently. Step 4, provide for Danny. Reaper took Danny to his house. Modest 3-bedroom. You've got your own room, as long as you need it. Years if necessary. This is your home, your safe place. Danny stared at the clean room with actual bed. My own room. Really? This is mine. Really? Your family. Family gets rooms, food, safety, everything you've been missing. Step 5. Education. Danny's attendance had been sporadic. Too ashamed of injuries, too exhausted, too behind academically. The club enrolled him at St. Michael's Academy, private school, excellent reputation, $18,000 annually. Club paid in full for 4 years up front. You're smart, Danny. You survived 14 years of hell. That takes intelligence. Let's use that brain. Learn, grow, thrive. Step 6. Therapy. Danny needed professional help. The club arranged Dr. Patricia Williams, trauma specialist. Weekly sessions, paid fully. You need to talk to someone trained to help you heal. Build healthy patterns. No shame in therapy. Step 7. Give Danny what he asked for. Work, real work, meaningful contribution. You're on club maintenance crew. You'll help clean, not as janitor, as member. Organize supplies. Learn basic motorcycle maintenance when supervised. Learn skills. Earn $50 weekly. Your money. You wanted work. You've got work. Danny thrived like a plant moved from darkness to sunlight. First time ever, he had structure, routine, safety, people who cared. How do you feel? Reaper asked after 1 month. Safe. That's biggest. I'm not waiting to be hit, not flinching when people move. And I feel valued, like I matter, like my existence is good instead of burden. I've never felt this. Thank you for giving me a chance. You gave yourself the chance by walking through that door, by asking. That took courage we respect. At 6 months, Danny was visibly transformed. Healthy weight, 122. Attending St. Michael's regularly, catching up academically. Most importantly, smiling, laughing, making friends, thriving. I want to help other kids, Danny told Reaper. Kids like me, stuck, abused, hopeless. Show them there's a way out, that people care, that family isn't always blood. Then let's make that happen. The Hells Angels established Danny's Door program helping abused children. Named after Danny's courage walking through their door asking for help. We saw how many kids fall through cracks, members explained. Systems fail, families fail, kids suffer alone. We're ensuring that doesn't happen. Any kid can walk through our door, ask for help, get it, always. The program provided immediate safety assessment, legal intervention, housing assistance, educational support, therapy, mentorship, everything Danny received, for any kid who asked. Danny showed us the need, Reaper told media. He walked in beaten, asking not for charity but work, for dignity, for belonging. We realized thousands need the same, so we're providing it. Funding came from multiple sources, club funds, charity motorcycle rides raising thousands per event, local business donations, individual contributions. Within a year, budget hit 500,000, helping 47 children. At 1 year, Danny was 15, thriving at St. Michael's, straight A's, mostly B's, we're still catching up. Socially, he'd made genuine friends, joined debate team, discovering natural talent for persuasive speaking, found passion, justice, advocacy, helping others who suffered like him. I want to be a lawyer, Danny told Reaper with certainty. Family law and child advocacy. Legally intervene in abusive situations. Get kids away from people who hurt them. Ensure safety and support. Use law as tool for protection and justice. You'll be amazing, Reaper said. You understand suffering in ways most don't. You understand systemic failure because you experienced it. You understand intervention's power because you lived it. That makes you uniquely qualified. We're proud. At 5 years, Danny was 19, graduated St. Michael's with honors, valedictorian. His speech focused on second chances, asking for help, how family isn't always biological. Half the audience cried, including Reaper and Hell's Angels sitting proudly front row. Full scholarship to Northwestern University, pre-law degree, lived in student housing but came home weekends, still calling it home, still considering Hell's Angels his true family. Volunteered extensively with Danny's Door, mentoring newly rescued kids, showing transformation and healing were possible. People ask how I succeeded, Danny told a Chicago newspaper. How does a kid go from being beaten daily and starving to successful college student with full scholarship? Answer is simple. I walked through a door, asked for work, for belonging. The Hells Angels said yes, gave me everything, safety, family, education, purpose, love. I'm just living the incredible gift they gave me. I'm proof that intervention works, that asking for help works, that family can be whoever shows up when you need them most. At 10 years, Danny was 24. Second-year law school at Northwestern, top of class, law review, clerk for federal judge, multiple job offers lined up. Still lived with Reaper during summers, now 68 but still sharp. Still worked closely with Danny's Door, which had expanded significantly. Volunteered as mentor, helped with legal aspects, gave speeches. I meet kids like I was constantly, Danny explained during a viral TED Talk. Kids trapped in abuse, kids feeling hopeless, worthless, like they don't matter. I show them my story, prove asking for help works, that transformation is possible, that healing is real, that there are people who will respond to desperate plea with overwhelming love. That family is whoever shows up. That's the lesson the Hells Angels taught me. That's what I'm passing forward. At 20 years, Danny was 34. Successful attorney specializing in family law and child advocacy. Married to Sarah, whom he'd met in law school. Father to two daughters who would never know what their father experienced. Built a life that was everything he'd dreamed during those terrible years. Safety, stability, love, purpose, family. 20 years ago, Danny said during a documentary about Danny's door, I walked into a Hells Angels clubhouse with face beaten, body broken, spirit nearly destroyed. I asked if I could work there, didn't ask for rescue. Asked for work, for purpose, for belonging, for chance to have value. The Hells Angels gave me everything: family, safety, education, love, opportunity. They transformed my life completely. Now I'm transforming other lives, using my law degree to protect kids legally, working with Danny's door, ensuring other kids get intervention I got. That's legacy, that's purpose, that's what family means. Danny's door had helped over 5,000 children by 20 years, expanded to 7 Illinois locations, annual budget exceeded $10 million, became model for similar programs in other states. All inspired by one beaten 14-year-old who'd walked through a door asking for work, and 15 Hells Angels who'd recognized that request as the profound act of courage it was. We're successful because we never forget Danny, program directors explained. One beaten kid, one desperate question. One massive, immediate, comprehensive response. That's our model, that's our standard. Any kid asking for help gets it. Immediately, completely, permanently, always. Sometimes family is defined not by blood, but by who shows up when you're dying. Sometimes belonging is earned through courage to ask for it. Sometimes one question changes everything. Danny proved it. The Hells Angels honored his courage. 5,000 children benefited from the lesson. Forever. If this story moves you, please like and share. Everyone deserves to belong. At 30 years after Danny walked through that clubhouse door, he stood before the Illinois State Legislature, testifying on behalf of comprehensive child protection reform. His voice was authoritative, confident, powerful, nothing like the terrified 14-year-old who'd once trembled asking for work. 30 years ago, I was a severely abused child with nowhere to turn, Danny told the assembled lawmakers. Traditional systems had failed me repeatedly. Foster care was overwhelmed. Schools missed signs. Police couldn't intervene effectively. I was dying slowly, and nobody stopped it. Then I walked into a Hells Angels clubhouse and asked if I could work there. I didn't ask for rescue. I asked for dignity, for purpose, for belonging. 15 men responded by giving me everything: family, safety, education, therapy, love. They saved my life. But thousands of children still fall through the same cracks I did. We need laws ensuring every child gets the comprehensive intervention I received. That's what this bill provides. The legislation passed unanimously. Danny's Law, mandating immediate comprehensive intervention for reported child abuse cases with funding for housing, education, therapy, and long-term support. $200 million annually dedicated to ensuring no child suffered alone. You changed state policy, Reaper told Danny afterward. Now, 88 years old, using a wheelchair but still mentally sharp as ever. That question you asked 30 years ago keeps creating ripples across generations. Because you answered it properly, Danny responded, hugging the man who'd become his true father. You taught me that asking for help isn't weakness, it's courage. That family isn't defined by blood, but by who shows up when you're dying. I'm just codifying those lessons into law so other kids get what I got. Danny's Door had grown exponentially over 3 decades, operating in 47 states now with over 200 locations. More than 50,000 children helped directly, removed from abusive situations, provided comprehensive support, given chances to thrive. The program's annual budget exceeded $100 million, funded by donations, inspired by Danny's story, government grants, and continued support from Hells Angels chapters nationwide. We're successful because we maintain Danny's original vision, the national director explained during a conference. One beaten child asked for work, for dignity, for belonging. We ensure every child who asks, or who can't ask but needs help, gets comprehensive, immediate permanent support. No bureaucracy, no delays, no children falling through cracks. That's our standard. The media attention on Danny's story had never fully faded. Every 5 years, major outlets revisited it. 35 years since Beaten Boy asked bikers for work. Each article inspired new donations, new volunteers, new programs. Danny's TED Talk had been viewed over 50 million times across 3 decades, becoming one of the platform's most watched talks on resilience and intervention. At 35 years, Reaper passed away peacefully at 93. Heart failure, surrounded by club members and Danny's entire family. His last words were to Danny, "Thank you, son, for walking through our door, for trusting us with your pain, for showing us our true purpose wasn't just riding motorcycles, it was protecting vulnerable people who needed family. You changed us as much as we changed you. I love you. Keep helping kids. Keep building family. That's legacy." Danny held Reaper's hand as he died, tears streaming. "I love you, Dad. You saved my life when nobody else would. You gave me everything, safety, family, purpose, love. I'll honor you by continuing this work forever. Thank you for saying yes when I asked. Thank you for seeing value in a broken kid. Rest in peace." Reaper's funeral drew 50,000 people, largest gathering in Chicago history. Hell's Angels from every chapter nationwide. Children helped by Danny's door, now adults with their own families. Advocates, officials, ordinary people whose lives Reaper had touched through his response to one beaten child 35 years earlier. Danny gave the eulogy, his voice breaking with emotion. 35 years ago, I walked into Reaper's clubhouse, beaten, starving, desperate. I asked if I could work there. Reaper didn't just give me a job, he gave me a family. He became my father in every way that matters. He taught me that courage means responding to desperate voices. That family means choosing to love someone who needs it. That purpose means using your strength to protect vulnerable people. He lived those values every day for 35 years. He didn't just save me, he created a movement that saved 50,000 children. That's his legacy. That's what we honor today. Thank you, Dad, for everything, forever. 50,000 people stood in silent tribute, many crying, all understanding they'd witnessed the impact of one man's decision to say yes to a desperate child. At 40 years, the 40th anniversary of Danny walking through that door was a national event. Representatives from all 50 states attended commemoration in Chicago, each describing programs inspired by Danny's story and Reaper's response. In California, we created open-door programs, ensuring any child can walk into designated safe spaces and receive immediate help, one director explained. In Texas, Danny's Houses, comprehensive support facilities for abused children, modeled exactly on what Danny received, another added. In New York, Reaper's response teams, trained volunteers who provide immediate family-style intervention for children in crisis, a third described. All traceable to one beaten 14-year-old asking for work and 15 bikers recognizing that request as the profound act of courage it was. Danny, now 54, addressed 20,000 assembled people. 40 years ago, I asked the Hells Angels if I could work at their clubhouse. I didn't know I was really asking for family, for safety, for love, for someone to see value in me when I couldn't see it myself. Reaper and his brothers said yes. They gave me everything. Now, 40 years later, Danny's Door and similar programs have helped over 100,000 children. We've proven that intervention works, that asking for help works. That family can be whoever shows up when you need them. Thank you to everyone continuing this work. You're honoring Reaper, you're saving children, you're building family. 20,000 people stood, applauding for 5 full minutes, understanding they were celebrating not just one rescue, but a movement that had transformed how America protects vulnerable children. At 50 years, Danny was 64 and still actively practicing family law, still working with Danny's Door, still giving speeches about his experience. His own children, now adults, had followed his path into advocacy work, inspired by their father's story and commitment to helping others. "People ask when I'll retire," Danny told a journalist during an interview. "The answer is never. This work is my life. Reaper gave me this life by saying yes when I asked for work. I honor him by continuing to say yes to every child who asks or needs help. Until I die, I'm fighting for vulnerable kids. That's non-negotiable." His wife, Sarah, married to him for 30 years now, supported this completely. Danny's purpose is helping children. It's who he is, who he's always been since Reaper showed him what family means. I'm proud to support that mission. Agree. At 75 years after Danny walked through that clubhouse door, his story had become foundational text in child protection, social work, and community intervention studies. Universities taught courses on the Danny Brooks model, how immediate, comprehensive, family-based intervention creates transformative outcomes for abused children. October 12, 2024, is a defining moment in child welfare history, professors explained to students. Daniel Brooks, a 14-year-old abuse victim, asked the Hells Angels for work. They recognized his request as a plea for family and responded with comprehensive intervention. That response created 75 years of proven methodology for protecting vulnerable children. That's exponential impact from one conversation. Danny had passed away at 89, living 75 years past that desperate morning. Peaceful death at home, surrounded by children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and 30 Hells Angels maintaining vigil, carrying on Reaper's tradition of protecting family. His last words, "Thank you to Reaper, wherever you are. Thank you to every Hells Angel who said yes when I asked for work. Thank you to everyone who's continued this mission. Keep protecting children, keep building family, keep saying yes to desperate voices. That's all that matters." His funeral drew 100,000 people, largest gathering in American history for a private citizen. Hells Angels from every chapter worldwide. Children helped by Danny's Door and similar programs, now adults, many with their own successful careers in advocacy and law. Officials, advocates, ordinary people whose lives Danny had touched through 75 years of tireless work. His eldest daughter, Maria, gave the eulogy. "Dad walked into a clubhouse 75 years ago, asking for work. Reaper gave him family. Dad spent 75 years giving that gift to others. Over 500,000 children helped directly through programs he inspired. Laws changed in all 50 states. Global culture transformed to prioritize immediate, comprehensive intervention for vulnerable children. He did all that because one man said yes to a desperate boy. Thank you, Dad, for showing us that asking for help is courage. That family is whoever shows up. That one person can change hundreds of thousands of lives. Rest with Reaper. You've earned your peace." Maybe 100,000 people stood in tribute, understanding they were honoring not just one man, but a movement that had saved generations of children. Danny's Door had evolved into Danny's Network, international organization operating in 90 countries. Over 2 million children helped across 75 years. $5 billion distributed for housing, education, therapy, support. Standard model globally for child protection. Danny's methodology works universally. International child welfare organizations concluded. Immediate response to children's requests for help. Comprehensive family-based intervention. Long-term support ensuring stability. This isn't just effective, it's transformative. Danny and Reaper proved it 75 years ago. We're continuing their legacy. The Hells Angels had been forever changed by that October morning. Once feared outlaws, now respected child protection advocates globally, partner to governments. Essential component of child welfare systems in 47 countries. Danny changed us fundamentally, members explained. Before him, we were bikers protecting bikers. After him, we became family builders for children who had none. That's who we are, forever. At 100 years, the centennial of Danny walking through that door was global event. Representatives from every nation attended, celebrating a century of child protection inspired by one desperate question and one compassionate answer. 100 years ago, Daniel Brooks asked if he could work at a clubhouse, the UN Secretary General said. The Hells Angels said yes and gave him family. That exchange created movement protecting over 10 million children globally, changed laws in 193 countries, transformed how humanity responds to vulnerable children. We honor that today by committing to continue this work. Every child deserves what Danny received: family, safety, love, opportunity. The clubhouse where it happened had been preserved perfectly, now international monument and museum. 5 million visitors annually walked through, seeing where one beaten child had asked for work and received family instead. This is sacred ground, tour guides explained. Here, desperation met compassion. Here, courage met response. Here, one question changed 10 million lives. Stand here, feel the weight of that moment. Then commit to saying yes when children ask for help. At 150 years, Danny's sesquicentennial was humanity's largest coordinated celebration. Simultaneous events in every nation, 50 million people participating globally, honoring 150 years of protecting vulnerable children, inspired by one boy and 15 bikers. Danny Brooks asked for work 150 years ago, world leaders declared in unison. He received family. That gift created 150 years of ensuring every child gets family when they need it. We've helped over 50 million children because Danny had courage to ask, and Reaper had wisdom to say yes properly. 200 years after Danny walked through that clubhouse door, his story remained the definitive example of intervention done right. Over 100 million children had been helped by programs inspired by that October morning. Global culture had been fundamentally transformed to prioritize immediate, comprehensive, family-based response to vulnerable children. The Danny Principle was enshrined in international law. Every child's request for help must receive immediate, comprehensive, family-based intervention. No exceptions, no bureaucracy, no delays. He asked for work 2 centuries ago, legal scholars explained. He received family. That exchange changed how humanity protects children. That's permanent transformation from one conversation. Danny's network operated universally. Every nation, every community. Standard protocol for child protection globally. Budget exceeded $1 trillion annually. Results were undeniable. Child abuse deaths had declined 97% globally since the methodology was universalized. The Hells Angels continued their mission, 50th generation since Reaper. Still committed to protecting vulnerable children, still maintaining that clubhouse as sacred site. We'll never forget, members said. 2 centuries ago, a beaten child walked through our door. We said yes, that yes created 2 centuries of protecting 100 million children. That's our purpose, forever. Danny's lesson endures. Asking for help is courage. Family is whoever shows up when you're dying. One desperate question can save millions. Reaper's lesson endures. Saying yes to desperate children changes everything. Family means choosing to love someone who needs it. Intervention means comprehensive, permanent commitment. Together, they proved that one conversation, one beaten child asking for work, one compassionate biker offering family instead, creates infinite protection. 200 years, 100 million children saved, all from one question: can I work here? And one answer: you can belong here forever. That's the power of saying yes. That's the miracle of building family. That's the legacy that never dies. Thank you, Danny, for having courage to ask, for showing us that vulnerability deserves response, for proving transformation is possible. Thank you, Reaper, for saying yes, for giving family instead of job, for teaching us that protection means love. The lesson lives forever. Every desperate voice deserves response. Every child deserves family. Every question deserves compassionate answer. Never ignore children asking for help. Never underestimate power of saying yes. Never forget that one conversation changes everything. Because Danny asked for work. Because Reaper gave him family. Because 100 million children benefited forever. That's the truth. That's the power. That's the legacy. Say yes. Build family. Protect children. Always.